Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Johnny, and welcome to episode 110 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm here with previous guests. That is such a crazy story that really kind of shows how quickly life changes. David Vu from episode 82. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Johnny, for having me, my man. It's an honor and a privilege to be on your podcast again, for sure, bro, man.
So it may sound like we are now best friends, but if you guys listen to that old episode, actually, please listen to that before you listen to this, if you have no idea who he is or if you don't follow my blog, because it's going to be so different. On that episode, you're going to hear me being like probably colder to David than any of my previous guests, because I didn't know who he was. I didn't trust him. I haven't met him in person yet. And now we are sitting where?
We are in Koh Lanta, Thailand, and we're actually sitting on a lake right now called Tung Yi Peng. It's a little fishing lake, and we're actually fishing. So we definitely became best friends over time.
Yeah, so this is the first ever podcast that I've done, at least. Maybe first ever in general, while we are fishing. And we don't just have one rod out. How many do you have set up?
I think we got like 6 out, man. We got like 3 people, so
yeah.
We got quite a few.
So if we don't catch a fish during this episode, we suck.
Embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
So actually, we went on a 2-day fishing resort tour we went on a 2-day trip to one of the world's best fishing resorts, and we didn't catch anything.
Yeah, man. We fished for actually 2 full days, and it was actually pretty embarrassing and demoralizing, not to catch anything. But regardless, it was really relaxing, and we still had a lot of fun, man.
All right, so this episode is not going to be all about fishing. It's going to be about the freedom of time and money to be able to go fishing, which is David's hobby, or to scuba diving, which is now his new hobby.
Yes.
Or travel, or knit, or do Muay Thai, or whatever it might be. And even though like that fishing trip, to be honest, was way more money than I was ever planning on spending on fishing. I think we spent $450 each over those 2 days to fish, which is insane if you think about it, And we did it on a Tuesday. We did it on Monday and Tuesday. Yeah. So we missed 2 days of work to go pay a lot of money to go fishing. Like, most people back home can't do that.
Yeah, it's true.
And like, did you always have this freedom?
No, definitely not, man. It wasn't until maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, when I started making a lot more money, and then not just the money, but being able to free myself from, being a slave to my job or being a slave to my business, and just outsourcing and, having the freedom to do it.
The one thing that I noticed about David when I started hanging out with him here is he did not work at all. Like, pretty much zero. And out of all the location independent entrepreneurs I know, all the digital nomads I know, we all work, Monday through Friday. The more free ones, they never work weekends. But there's a lot of people that work 7 days a week. They're really glued to their laptop. Some people, a lot of people work at night even. Yep. So even though we have the freedom of living in a place like Thailand or wherever we want, most people, they're still tied to their computers because they have clients in the U.S. or in a different time zone that they need to manage, or they have like freelance work that they need to do, or just their business isn't that hands off. And even me, I still try to wake up at a normal U.S. time so I can catch people before the end of business day in the U.S. So if I need to call them, I can. And I'm very fortunate that I only really have to work, for an hour in the morning, and then I can go do whatever I want, or I can work on creative projects. But David it seems like you have like unlimited freedom.
Yeah, it's not always like this. I'm an entrepreneur. There are, certain seasons and months where I hustle 7 days a week, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, But I like to have somewhat of a balance where I do recharge myself by taking, a full month, 2 months off and just pretty much not working at all. So that way when I get back, I can get back on the grind, But, the reason why I'm like this is because, way back in the days when I started my early entrepreneurship career, I had some mentors tell me that, David, whenever you have a business and you're always working, on your business, you don't really own a business. The business owns you. You know what I mean? And if you can't have the freedom to leave for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month, then you're a slave to your business. So a real business, truly, if you break down the big entrepreneurs like Mark Cuban or Richard Branson, right? I mean, they own hundreds of different businesses, but they're not always there. And the true definition of a business, in my opinion, is when you can actually leave for a couple weeks or even a month and come back to your business, and your business has actually grown in spite of you being there. So that's the true definition of a business, when you don't have to be there, but your business still continues to grow. So that's what I try to emulate, and that's why I force myself to take these nice vacations and leave, so that way, you know, my hires, my employees, people that I outsource the work to can take over and grow the business for me, you know?
I like it, and to be honest, it's really inspiring me. And it's kind of made me look at my business, and I realize compared to what it was before, I'm so happy, you know. Instead of, I had the freedom of location, I can do it from anywhere.
Yeah.
I have freedom of time in most cases, I can leave, for example, if I want to take a 4-day weekend whenever I want, I can. It's not that big of a deal. But at the same time, it's always kind of the back of my mind. I'm just like, if I don't check that email at least once every other day, what if something happens and no one else is there to take care of it?
Right.
And even now, I only get calls or emails from things that my VAs can't handle or my customer service person can't handle. But now I'm thinking, you know what? Why not take that next step and say, let me make it so I don't have to handle it at all. So I can go do things that I've wanted to do. I want to go trekking. I want to go to Nepal. There's no internet there, and it's like a 2-week trip, and I can't do it, and I feel like a slave now, right?
Right.
So I think what I've learned from you, hanging out with you for these last 30 days on this island, is that it's possible. And I actually, to be honest, I assumed you were like this your whole life, because ever since I've known you, and it feels like I've known you for a long time now, but the actual timeline is I messaged David a little bit less than a year ago, probably 8 months ago, and I said, hey, I see you're doing well on your course. You're and you have all these testimonials. Can I have you on the podcast? I want to ask you some questions. Yeah. And it took you about 3 months to even come on my podcast. And then when David did, if you guys have heard it, I was very cold to him. I was kind of like, I was very skeptical, and it wasn't that I was skeptical of David. It's because I didn't know him,
right?
But also because eBay arbitrage is one of those things that you've heard. A lot of people have heard about drop shipping on eBay or Amazon or wherever it is. You hear about it and you're like, you know what? And you hear all these negative things. A lot of people say like, oh, it doesn't work, or all these reasons. And honestly, I fell for that too. And part of it is because I never met anyone who's actually been successful with it. Number two, it's almost sounded a little bit too easy. But when I had you on and I asked you the hard questions, you would just answer them. You were like super open about it, and you were like, yeah, it's not like you're not building a long-term business that you're gonna retire off of. This is like a
cash
way
flow,
to make money pretty quickly, pretty easily without any upfront investment. And I think when you kind of openly just talked about it and said, look, like I'm not, this isn't like the end all. This is just one way that you can start making a couple $100 a month. And for some students, they're making, $2,000 a month? What are your best students doing now?
Actually, the best students that I know of, because it's funny, because once they start making really big money and their business is growing and getting busier and busier, I actually don't even hear much from them at all because they're so busy, which is really good. But I've had students report, over 10,000. The highest was actually $14,000 a month.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So, and that was last I heard from them. And that was a few months ago. So.
And these guys are treating it like a real business.
Oh, real business, and they were one of my early adopters in the course. So they started the course maybe at least a year ago, and they probably hit that 10,000 plus mark maybe 8-9 months in.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
But yeah,
so
it's
they
definitely
put in the
grown.
work. They're doing it.
Oh yeah, they grinded it out just like I did when I first started.
What do you think some of their secrets are? Why were they so successful while other people are making, like, let's say they're making $700 a month? What's the difference between that guy and these guys?
I believe, and I study. It's interesting because even though they're my students, I study them too, and see why are they so successful and why are a lot of other students are not successful. And it really boils down to one thing, and it's basically you can either make excuses or make money, but you can't do both, And the students that are super uber successful, they're just relentless. They just have this ambition, this drive that no matter what it takes, they make it happen. And they find the time to do it no matter what. No excuses, and it's cool because I get to hear their story and talk to them, and that's what it is. And other students that aren't so successful or as successful as them, they're always the ones that, I can't do it because I got kids. I can't put in that much time because I got my job, So, but that's the biggest difference is no excuses.
Man, that actually makes a lot of sense. So I, for a long time, I was one of the star students in Anton's dropshipping course, and because I was making between like $3,000 and $5,000 a month, and I still am from it. I'm very happy with that because it's been pretty much passive.
Right.
But now there are people who are making a lot more than me.
Yep.
And I study them. I'm like, what are these guys doing differently than me? And it's because exactly what you just said. They don't make any excuses. My excuses are, I have other businesses I want to run, or I have other things I'm interested in, or I have, this. I have the time zone difference. Where it's like it's inconvenient for me to like call suppliers in the day, and I want to do it. And these guys, they're just like, well, okay, I'm sure they acknowledge it. They're not just oblivious to it. But they just find other ways to do it. They're just like, all right, well, I can't call suppliers during these times. What can I do?
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
I can batch it and just call them like once a month or something. Maybe I can hire someone in the U.S. to answer the calls from her. Maybe I can get a business partner in the U.S. Maybe I can do something else. So what you said really makes sense because there's always a workaround.
Yep.
But it's so easy for us just to have an excuse to not do it.
Yep, exactly. And the other biggest difference is just they take massive action. Not just little action, but I'm talking about all out, AOMA, all out massive action. That's it. That's all it was. So that's the biggest difference.
I can see that. But I also want to say that like for people that want to make the big bucks and they are willing to commit to taking super massive action to put all of it in, have no excuses, it works 100%. But also for people who are happy just say, I just want some side income. I want I really don't want that much responsibility. I don't want to take massive action. I just want to take enough action where I can go to Thailand and not ball out in a suite on the beach. I just want to go. Like I'd be happy just to stay in dorms. I'd be happy to travel on the cheap. And the thing is, that's okay too. But I think what people need to realize is they got to stop making excuses either way.
Yeah. The majority of the success stories in my course are those people. That and those are the ones that I'm actually more excited about. That make $500 to $2,000 a month. It's not life changing. Like where they're going to be a baller, but it definitely helps pay the bills and gives them the options to do extra things that they normally could not do without that income.
But I argue that it is life changing because having that extra money, not only does it give them some savings,
true,
but also gives them vacation fund, and more importantly, it gives them peace of mind knowing that if they ever wanted to quit their job or they got fired or the company went bankrupt or whatever it is, that they know that there is another alternative.
Absolutely, yeah. They don't have to be stressed out, and they still have income coming in. Yeah, I agree.
I think of the lack of stress and having savings or like extra income. To me, that's freedom.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but it's crazy though that like when you're broke and you're worried about paying rent or paying for your food or paying a credit card bill, it sucks. It sucks so bad, and that's like the opposite of freedom. That's like being shackled. But I think once we can pay off everything, we have enough money in the bank, so we can. If we have to, we can coast for a few months while we get our things back together. We have the skills where we know we can, in 3 to 6 months, we can get our businesses back. That's ultimate freedom.
Yep.
But I almost feel like any money on top of that, it has diminishing returns. Have you felt that at all?
Yeah, I do. I 100% agree with that because here I've heard your story and you've heard my story. We all came from humble beginnings and we were broke way back in the days and struggled like crazy. So I'm glad we all went through that because now we appreciate it more when we do have the income and the money and the lifestyle. But yeah, I definitely agree with that, 100%.
And I don't think either of us even spend that much money.
No, we don't. We can be. Most of the time we're frugal.
Yeah.
But then we like to splurge on nice restaurants here and there, and do more experience things than anything, not buy materialistic things.
Yeah, I mean, like we're sitting here. I mean, we're paying like $10 to go fishing.
Well, Thailand's so cheap, bro.
Yeah,
I don't think you can overspend here if you want.
How much is the outfit that you're wearing right now? Because you bought all this while traveling.
Oh yeah,
right?
I got this shirt. I think it was like 100 baht. And
just
then,
$3.
Yeah, $3. And then these shorts. Well, these shorts are at home. The only thing I bought was a shirt, pretty much. And
okay.
Sunglasses, which was another like 200 baht, $6. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, so we're really not spending very much money. And other people are freaking balling it out. I actually met like a really nice, couple that they stay in $200 a night hotel rooms, And I'm like, in my mind, and they're like, oh yeah, it's not that much. You know, it's pretty good value. I'm like, 200 US? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, especially because there are great options here for way less than half of that. For like $50 or something, right? You can get like a nice place, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're staying right now. We're staying at a resort, and we have like an ocean view right next to the water, you know, and it's typically, you know, more than what most people would spend around here anyways. I think we're paying like $88 a night, which is a little bit on the high side. But if you compare that to anywhere in the U.S., you know, there's nowhere in the U.S. that I can think of that you can stay next to the beach, you know, with the ocean view for $88 a night. You know,
it probably includes breakfast too, right?
Yeah, and includes breakfast, exactly. Yeah, so when you compare anything here to the U.S., the value is always going to be 2x to 5x, you know, for sure.
But I think it also kind of shows like if you're here for a few weeks, you know, you'll pay nightly, and you know, and usually when you're paying nightly, it's going to be, you know, let's say $30 to $80 a night or something, depending on where you stay. But once you start staying monthly at places,
you can negotiate. Yeah,
it's not even negotiation. It's just cheaper.
Yeah,
like it ends up being like, you know, I'd say you can get like a really nice place. Well, in Koh Lanta it's a lot more expensive, but so here, let's say it's $1,000 a month, you know, or let's say you want to ball out, you can get a place for $2,000, you know, versus people, you know, paying that nightly hotel rate for, you know, $200.
Right.
But I think what I'm trying to get at is, even if you have the freedom of money, that doesn't necessarily mean you should just spend it.
Right. No.
You know, if you use your freedom of location and you can stay here for longer, for a month or longer, then you really, really start arbitraging that savings.
Big time, yeah. You know, for the it's called, you know, the 4-hour work week. It's called the freedom multiplier. You know, and then even for us, we've been arbitraging almost everything. I mean,
I got a fish.
We got a fish.
Is it on the hook? Nope. No, I think I jumped off.
Never mind.
All right.
And let the bait go.
So freedom arbitrage.
We got excited for a second. Oh, it's funny. No, but going back to the arbitraging thing, yeah, a few days ago we went to go get some dental work done, and it was crazy because I was just sitting there calculating the prices. The savings that we saved on our dental work was the cost of the flight ticket here. You know, it's just mind blowing. You know, like my girlfriend saved thousands of dollars on these crazy fillings that she had to get done. So it was pretty cool.
So pretty much this vacation paid for itself.
Yes.
Just because of the medical tourism.
Yes, exactly. You know, and then on the food, I mean, we you know, even though we splurge, I mean, the amount of money we would spend at home on food would be just so much more here. You know.
Well, here's the thing: is even though we do splurge, like very often, pretty much every night we've been going to nice restaurants, but for like, let's say, like breakfast is included. Lunch, we just eat like normal Thai food.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, $3 or something.
$3, yeah.
And then when we do want to go out, and we've been going out pretty often just because, man, Koh Lanta is like surprisingly good food.
Yep.
We've been balling out at the best places. We've been going to we spent on TripAdvisor. We're like, what are the top 10 restaurants?
Yeah.
And let's just go there every night. So there was one called that we've been going to pretty much all the time called Red Snapper, and they are like Spanish style tapas.
Yep.
And I remember every time we would sit down, we would order like 7 or 8 plates, and they're good.
Yep.
Like they would give you, they have these like honey glazed ribs that come with an entire pickled garlic, and they have like cured duck breast prosciutto over salad, and I don't know, it's just really good food. And we were talking, and we were saying, I mean, we can get the same quality food in Huntington Beach, or in California, but how much would that cost us?
3 times more.
Yeah,
easily, all day long.
I mean, these are the restaurants that like you would save up for a special occasion.
Oh, fish.
All right, David is grabbing a fish in, and the thing is, like, you would end up spending, let's say $200-300 going out, you know, with a group of friends easily, and you would only use it for like a special occasion. But here, I mean, like it's pretty much just like any random night. We just go out and we're just like, oh yeah, you know, we have a group of friends. We have nothing to do. You know, everyone's worked hard all day. So why don't we, you know, just go and hang out and enjoy each other?
We lost it. All right, I'm back. Sorry to your audience, man. I knocked over my chair. I jumped out of my seat. We had a fish on, but we lost it.
That's life, right? That's why it's called fishing.
You get some, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So.
And so the other place we went to, what was your second favorite restaurant on the island?
I would say Yang Garden. Yeah, Yang Garden. That was rated number one in TripAdvisor. It was like Australian food. We had like Australian grass-fed beef sirloin that just like melted in your mouth the moment it touched your palate, So we're gonna make your listeners salivate.
Oh, it was so good, and it's run by all like Swedish staff, and when you're there, you actually forget that you were in completely 100%. And then the best sides ever. They had like I can't, I didn't even have the menu in front of me, but it was so good. And tonight we're going to a place called The Table, which I'm really excited about. I haven't been there yet, but I like the concept. It is one large table that seats like 15 people, and you're only allowed to bring a few friends because they want you to mix and mingle with others, with people you don't know yet.
The socializing dinner, super cool concept.
They only have one seating per night, so it's every night at like 7:30. They tell you to come at 7 so you can have some drinks, meet people, and then start serving food at 7:30. And it's a set menu. They don't even tell you what it's going to be. They just start cooking for you. They start bringing out meals. And things like this, like we have it in Austin, we have it in California, but it's so much more expensive that like it's really only for someone's birthday.
Right. It's like a super special occasion. Absolutely.
So I feel like that's almost kind of like an arbitrage. That's like a happiness arbitrage, where instead of waiting for a special occasion, we can make every night a special occasion here.
Yeah, totally, man. I definitely 100% agree with that. Yeah.
So what other forms of freedom have you felt kind of either being out here or having this kind of lifestyle or being an entrepreneur?
Just having the time to do whatever I want, And the funnest thing for me is me and Lily. We just caught a fish.
Good job, Lily. Lily's David's girlfriend.
She's watching all of our fishing rods as we're doing this podcast, but it's interesting because me and Johnny are both distracted. We keep looking at the fishing rods. And then we had a bite, and Lily reeled it in. We caught a white snapper.
Nice.
Actually,
so what's super cool is we caught a few before this episode where I'd said to David, I said, hey, we're not going to eat until we catch our own food. So, we spent about an hour, and we caught a bunch of them, but some of them were too small, so we threw them back. But we had two like good size white snappers, and we had them cook it up straight away. So like from the lake to the restaurant is like 10 feet away.
Yeah, the restaurant is on the lake basically.
Yeah. And these guys cooked it up Thai style for us. One with like fried with garlic, one with like a
garlic and chili,
like a sweet chili sauce, and it was so freaking amazingly good. And this is just a relaxing Sunday. The weather's good. I would say that's another part of freedom, is being able to leave when it's cold or when the weather is crappy.
Right. Yep.
A lot of people are tied into to wherever they live, and they have to kind of just bear through it.
Yep. That's why we left to Thailand, because it was getting a little cold in California where we're at. But the biggest freedom factor for me is being over here for 35 days, and it's cool because we don't have an agenda or a set schedule to do anything. We just pretty much wake up every single day and go, all right, what do we want to do? Versus, this is something that we have to do, So every single day, literally, we don't have a plan. We just go throughout the day and just do something fun or look for something that we're interested in, and we just do it. That's it,
So what is freaking insane is the co-working space here is called CoHub. They have a private members group for people who are members, and you can post up, events, say, hey, this weekend I'm thinking about going, fishing or scuba diving or whatever. Does anyone want to come? And usually people just do it for like dinners or for drinks or whatever. And David was like, hey, these are the things I'm doing, with Lily the next 7 days if anyone wants to come. And you started listing out just like activities day after day after. Do you remember what was on there?
Yeah, kind of. I only did it because it's fun to have more people. The more the merrier. And I like the co-hub group. They're digital nomads. They're all entrepreneurs. So it's fun hanging out with like-minded people for sure. But I mean, we've done so many different things. We went island hopping. We went to Korak. Went diving at Koha. Went diving at Kobita. Saw some cool leopard sharks, some black tip sharks. That was such a cool experience. Went fishing with you on that 60-foot yacht boat that we accidentally hired. That was pretty fun, And then we went to Kongai. We went to so many different islands, and went to the PP Islands. What else did we do? We went to the caves. That was a really cool experience. Saw some bats, and went hiking. We took, I think, 6 or 7 hours and spread across 2 days and just drove around the whole entire island on our motorbikes. We literally went down every single road and just stopped by at any place we wanted to, eat lunch, have dessert, eat dinner, and it was just so cool, you know. And that's just the gist of it. We've done so many different things. Then what else have we done?
You know, I'm trying to look at your. I think I just pulled it up right here. It says,
oh, okay. Oh, dude, we just got another fish. Yeah, good job, Lily.
Here is our adventure schedule this week and approximate prices. The more the merrier, and the price is efficient. Certain activities can be done with a bigger group discount. So Tuesday, motorbike tour the whole island of Koh Lanta and fishing. Wednesday, private trip to the Emerald Cave.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite place.
Which is such
a
beautiful place.
I went there twice. The first time I went there, it was just so beautiful. You swim through like a cave, and
let me tell everyone the story.
Okay,
of this first, okay? So, have you ever seen photos of Thailand? You'll see in some of the bays and some of the oceans, you'll have these rock mountains.
Yep,
right?
there you go.
And people call them islands, but you can't really go on. They're just rocks.
Cliffs, yeah,
right?
rocks.
And they're beautiful. They're tall. And most of them, or 99.9% of them, they're just that. They're just a big rock. But there's one called the Emerald Cave, or Koh Mook. That one has a secret entrance that pirates discovered hundreds of years ago. And they would use that to hide their treasure.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Really?
Yeah,
Holy
because
crap.
from outside, it just looks like another rock.
Right.
But during low tide, and this is why the captains can only take you there during certain times.
Yep.
During low tide, there's enough room and enough air where you can like swim through the dark.
Yep.
For like 15 minutes.
It's like 150 meters.
Yeah.
It's
And you have to have
paddle.
like a waterproof flashlight, and you just swim through in the pitch black.
Yep. Complete darkness in like maybe 20 meters of water.
Yeah.
It's pretty deep, you know.
And all of a sudden, you start seeing some light at the end of the
Yep.
tunnel, and you swim towards. You swim. And as you get closer, you see there is a white sand beach in the middle of this rock face. And it's a lagoon.
Yep.
And you swim into it. And if you're lucky, if you're there early, there's nobody there and it's secluded. And it's just this lush, beautiful white beach with palm trees. And you're completely enclosed in rock. So like all around you, 360 degrees is just rock.
Yep, and there's a little jungle there too, so it's really foresty. And then you look up, it's just a big hole. So if you can imagine like that island of rock, there's like a hole in the middle of it, and that's what you're looking out of. And it's just so beautiful. And like our first time there, we didn't know what to expect. So we got there, I think like at 1 or 2 o'clock, and there must have been like at least 200 people there. It's very touristy, so it was very crowded, and we got some really great footage. But there was always people in the footage, and I'm into like I gotta take this one. I gotta fish.
So, this place is like a must-do if you come to Thailand, just because it's so incredible. And I'm gonna kind of go down the list. So on the next day, Thursday, there was a private day trip to the Koh Tao Bang Sea Caves. I actually haven't even been there yet. Friday, Koh Rock snorkeling. Saturday, dirt bike riding all over Atlanta. And that I actually did go on. Unfortunately, I was actually working Monday through Friday when David was doing all this crazy stuff. But dirt biking was incredible.
I'm back. Sorry. Yes, that was one of the coolest experiences here on the island for sure, because that was my first time dirt bike riding. Was that your first time too, Johnny?
It was my first. I would say that was definitely like my first extreme case. I think I've like kind of ridden one through like a really easy pass before. But that was crazy.
But that was epic for us. I mean, we got to ride through like jungles, dirt roads. We're like zipping up and down. I mean, all over the island. And my favorite part was we get to this beach on the north side of the island, and we're just zipping through the beach, and there's not a single person there.
It's this massive white sand beach that you just fly as fast as you want on these dirt bikes. And there's nothing there. There's no one there. And the only rule is he said, don't bring the bikes into the water.
Yep. Yeah, we hung out there and you're just zipping up and down for like an hour.
But my favorite part was go through the jungle. And, because you're just like riding like full speed on these giant, dirt bikes. Some of these are 250cc dirt bikes. And you're just flying through, going super fast and just bumps.
Yeah.
And we had, we had helmets on. We had a little bit of gear. We had long sleeve, everything. But Man, it was scary.
Yeah, it was. There were some sketchy moments, you know. And I think you took a spill, I took a spill. we definitely took a couple of spills.
Yeah.
We had no casualties, no injuries. We made it out okay, and we had a blast. I think that experience definitely gave the boys, me, you, Max, Ian, like some kind of a special bond with each other. You know, something we'll always remember.
100%. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a post on johnnyfd.com called "Things to Do in Koh Lanta."
Nice.
And I'm gonna embed all the videos, especially the ones that David's been making, of all these activities: the dirt bike riding, we went horseback riding. I'll embed some of the cool ones too, like scuba diving, all this stuff. And I want you guys to remember, this is all within the last month.
Yep.
I mean, you've done like crazy stuff.
I think I've tapped out this island. Like, there's nothing else we can do on this island. I think we've pretty much done every activity you can imagine. The only thing we haven't done is just eating at all the restaurants, but that will take too much time, you know. But yeah, we've done everything.
We were eating at all the best restaurants.
Yeah, the best restaurants. And then what else? We went to Ao Nang for 4 days, and we did that fishing resort thing. And yeah, we just had a blast, man. This has been one of the best vacations I've been on, man. You know.
I guess. What do you think of Thailand as a whole?
I love Thailand. I really, really enjoy Thailand. I love the whole. There's not. I really can't think of anything I don't like about it. Seriously, you know. I mean, the people, the culture here, they're just so nice and so calm and so mellow and really honest people. I mean, I can't tell you guys how many times I've forgotten my wallet or my camera. Definitely 4 or 5 times, and every single time people will chase me down and say, "Hey, did you forget something?" I'm like, "Oh crap, I did," you know. So I love the people, I love the freaking food, and you know, if you do get bored of Thai food, there's plenty of other options out there. The weather is always awesome, you know, and it's just, man, I love Thai. I want to move here. So
you know what? I have a feeling you're definitely gonna be back.
I see why you've been here for 8 years, Johnny.
Yeah, it's such an amazing place. So I want to do a little caveat out there, a little warning to everyone is. The reason why the people are so nice and so honest is because we are going to places like Koh Lanta that people are still super nice. Unfortunately, in a lot of places like Phuket or in Bangkok or like Pattaya or some of these other places, Koh Samui, people are no longer nice, and it's so unfortunate because the nature of Thai people is so nice.
Yeah.
You know, like they're like the nicest, most honest people. So the fact that people can turn and let greed or money kind of corrupt them, it's so sad to me. You know, but partially it's the tourists' fault too. I would say it's both sides. You know, one of the parts of it, and the reason why it happens is, you know, tourists. You know, some of them are super rude. You know, or they think that just because they have money that they can kind of treat people like crap, right. You know. They're not like polite back because the Thai culture is super polite.
Yep.
And, you know, if you're not super polite back, they're okay with that. But if you're rude to them, you know, like it's insulting, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, people get super drunk and start acting like assholes. And when people do that over and over, and there's like hundreds of thousands of tourists do that all the time, people kind of stop caring.
They're gonna
like,
break.
Just give me the money, you know.
They're gonna break.
And that's what is so sad to me about like certain parts.
Whoa, fish! Sorry.
But the nice thing is, like there are still great places like Koh Lanta, like Chiang Mai that I encourage everyone to come to. And David's been having the worst luck right now because
I keep missing the fish.
Yeah, every time he jumps up, there's like a bite on the line. And every single time, he just loses it. It's crazy.
I'm trying harder, man. Well, I'm watching these rods, and Lily's on patrol on these other rods. So
maybe it's the podcast gods.
I don't know, bro. It's all good.
We need you. They're like, everyone listening to this is like, that was cool for like the first 5 minutes, but we can't see the fish.
It's distracting.
Yeah.
Stop it, David.
But you know what? Part of it is actually that I almost feel like that focus that you have is what makes you good at business.
I agree. It definitely is one of my attributing factors to my success, you know, and I relate to, you know, growing up, I was really big in sports and I was really big on video games. Those 2 things, that's it. So I was very competitive, you know, and I was always hyper-focused to whatever I wanted to do. And I love being an entrepreneur and I love business because it's the ultimate sport. You know, it's 365 by 24 by 7 days a week, and the whole world's trying to kick your ass. So that's the only option you have. You got to win, you know, and it's fun for me. But yeah, definitely being focused is definitely one of the things I would attribute my success to, for sure.
Yeah. So for people that don't have that focus, do you think that business is just not for them, or do you think they just need to find like their passion?
It's more like, gosh, that's one thing is like, can you focus is so important to being successful as an entrepreneur. So it's like, if people don't have that focus, can they be successful at being an entrepreneur or owning a business? I almost want to say no. So the question is, how do people get that focus? You can't teach that. That's shit that you just can't teach. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't have it, you got to figure out a way to get it by finding out what your why is, first of all. Finding out what makes you cry, finding out what motivates you, whether it's wanting to help your parents, maybe put your kids in a better situation. Just find that internal drive, that candle that's just burning on the inside that will just get you focused, So for sure.
So even if it's not for you, even if it's not for the money, maybe it's something else.
Yeah, absolutely, But I believe everyone has the ability to get that focus, or somehow just, build it up like a fire and make it happen. I think it's within everybody, for sure,
I used to really suffer from focus issues, and I was always kind of lazy. I've always kind of been the king of the 80-20 rule.
Oh.
Which I think has benefited me a lot, because I'll figure out ways to do things, or kind of shortcuts. But what I was lacking was that hard work, that dedication, that focus. But now I think I have it, especially when I'm like doing something I really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like before I can, when at my corporate job, if I was there for 8 hours, I was probably working for like 2.
Yeah.
And that is everyone,
Right, yeah.
It's because you don't really care. I think now that I'm actually doing something for myself, now that it's like, I'm working on a bigger picture, and I have other goals besides money. So I do have monetary goals. There's things I want to buy, or it's experiences I want, figures I want to hit. But I think for me, what I found was not what I wanted, it's what I didn't want. And I never want to go back to a normal job. I never want to work for someone else again. I never want to be broke again. I never want to be shackled. And that drives me so much. My like hatred of being shackled or being broke is so strong that it motivates me to be successful.
Yeah, I'm the same way too, man. That was big for me, My last jobs, I just hated having, like someone with a thumb over your head telling you when you can take a break, when you can take your lunch, how many hours you can work. It's complete BS, man.
Especially when it's some idiot that the way that they're doing it is just a waste of time. And I remember even being 17 at a job, asking my boss, why are we doing it this way? Why don't we do it this other way to be more productive? You probably make the company more money, it'd be less wasteful. And they're just like, no, that's just the way it is.
Yep. Stupid.
And that would drive me freaking crazy. And I think that's the main reason why I can't work for anyone else. And that's also probably what makes me a good entrepreneur, is finding those, those ways to do things better, and then not having to answer to anyone. Just say, okay, I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah, totally, man. I agree with it. No, it's funny now, too, because I'm in a position where now I have a lot of employees, and I remember my experiences at working a job, and I never want to put my employees. So I'm actually glad I went through the same thing that you went through, and I never want to put my employees through that, through any of those situations. Like I make it a goal, like whatever company or whatever business I'm building, whoever I hire will never go through something like that, And in fact, anytime I hire someone new, I let them know, like, look, you're going to be working a job for me, but understand you're going to get an entrepreneurship education all day long, And it's cool because everyone that's worked for me, it's a good feeling to know that they all love working for me. They really, really do. And it's great because I teach them, how to be an entrepreneur, and I don't just keep them shackled to a 9-to-5 and what they want to do. Actually, everyone that works for me, it's almost like freelance work. They work their own hours. They make as much or as little as they want, and that's how it works. So it's really cool.
So out of curiosity, how many businesses do you have and how many employees do you have?
So I have a course and have someone help me out with that. At least about 16 or to 20 people. And again, a lot of them are just freelance workers, So they work whenever
what
they
are
want.
some of the type of jobs they have?
So with my vacation rental business, we have our maids. And we have maids for each of our properties. We also have interior designers that come up and help us set up those properties. And then for my e-commerce business, I have a moderator that helps me with that. For the Udemy courses, I have a moderator for that. For the e-commerce business, I have VAs that list products, does customer service. I have a store manager that watches over them, And then I just started doing a lot of video creation for vlogs for my own personal hobby, and then for also making courses. I have a video editor there, and then and then besides that, I have multiple business partners that helps me with a lot of stuff too.
Okay.
So having a team is everything, man. You got to have a team. You cannot do everything by yourself. It's absolutely impossible.
Can you share how you found these teammates?
For my business partners, obviously, I only do business with people I like and trust. So, they're my friends. But everyone else is either through Upwork.com for my VAs overseas, or just posting ads online and looking for the right talent. And I'll go through 50 applications, sometimes even 100 applications, and narrow down to maybe 5 or 6 that I like, and then do a phone interview with them. And then I'll give them a test hire, let them work for a few days, and if I really like them, they're on board, and it pretty much works out that way. But yeah, I just do everything online. I always look for people online.
I like that. That's really cool. So I put up a post. So this is how crazy this David is. He still doesn't even have a website. So he has all these businesses, and he's this online entrepreneur. But there's not like, I don't know. Do you even own David Vu?
No, I don't. It's funny. I've never really, I didn't even know really what a digital nomad was until I read the 4-Hour Work Week, and then I still even understand what it was until I kind of put myself in that environment. I never really considered myself an quote unquote online entrepreneur or any of that stuff. So that's why I never really cared to have a blog or have my own website or anything like that. I just make money, and if it's if it's online, cool. If it's offline, cool too. I believe it should be a balance of both, having online income and offline income. But no, I don't have my own website or anything like that yet. I'm working on it.
So what I did was I posted on JohnnyFD.com basically a David Vu income report because
for January,
because he shared on his YouTube channel a very detailed breakdown of everything that he was making and what he was up to. But if you were not already a member of his course, you wouldn't be able to find it, because how else would people find you? I guess they randomly stumbled upon it, but it was like it wasn't like easy for other people to find you.
Right.
So what made you decide to start doing these income reports?
Well, I was really inspired, first of all, with Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income, and then I was like, oh, man, that's really cool that he's doing that. Good for Pat, awesome, But I didn't personally know Pat, and I've just checked out a couple of his podcasts and hear him here and there, and then I met him at the conference in Texas at the Freedom Fastlane event, and that was really cool. And then I started seeing you do it. Really, that's what really kind of triggered my inspiration to get the ball rolling and doing it too. And I'm like, that's so cool, And I really thought to myself, like, man, it's crazy because people see all the success I have now, and I have a lot of friends that, man, David, you made it, you're doing so great, and they think like it was like overnight success, or maybe this was given to me, or that. And I wish, like, no, man, I wish I would have done this sooner and documented it sooner, And I was looking back at Pat's, and I saw yours, and like, that would have been so cool. I was documenting, 4 or 5 years ago when I made my first $1,000, and then I made 2,000, and then I made 5,000, and I made my first 10 grand. I wish I would have documented all of that for my personal reasons, and also to share with the world, to let them know, like, look, it's not easy for sure, but if you put in the work ethic and you just get it done, you can do it, and to document that whole journey is really cool. But now that I'm doing it, it's just, oh, cool, I made X amount of dollars and I made it, but I wish I would have done it sooner. But yeah, it's better late than never, so that's what really triggered me to do it.
I definitely agree. And your income reports are a couple months back still, right? Like, what's your latest one?
The latest one was January. I still need to do February, and I've been in Thailand the whole month, so I'm like 2 months behind. Okay. So I got to do that right when I get back.
But you're still planning on keeping them up every month?
Yeah. Okay. I want to do it every month. Yeah, I want to just document it for for the next couple of years, or however long I feel I want to do it. It's fun. So I can look back. It's good to be able to look back and go, wow, that's what you did during that time, and that's how much you made. It's really cool.
Any idea how much money you made this month while you were here?
I have no idea. It's funny because last night was the first time I was trying to get a hold of my accountant, because they've been emailing me for the last 2 weeks saying, hey, there's some new charges that we've seen that we don't know what they're for. so I barely just started getting back to them last night. I was emailing them back and talking to them and stuff. So not yet. So they're still making the reports and adding everything up. So,
but because these are hands-off businesses that are run pretty much passively now.
Yeah.
With employees, or just because they're set up kind of like, because you have a lot of automation as well.
Yeah, automation is big for me. Yeah.
Are you pretty confident that you're still making the same amount of money while you've been away from your laptop?
I know I made more because I checked the chunk of my money comes from e-commerce and online courses. With the online course, I was able to log in and see how much I made, so that was pretty easy. And the e-commerce, I kind of have a general idea by the gauge. I mean, I do keep my finger on the pulse and see how fast we're going, how slow we're going. So I kind of see, it takes me like a minute a day to check my reports, but we are getting a lot of sales. So I believe we're making more this month than last month, but I don't know how much more. We'll find out.
I'd adjust like a guest, right? How much was this total cost of this trip, including your flight ticket, the hotels, eating out, all these basically activities every single day? How much do you think you spent this month?
I think at least $6,000.
Okay, and how much do you think you made this month?
At least 30.
That's insane. Because you've been on vacation,
yeah,
and I know you haven't done any work.
Well, last night I was checking emails and doing stuff. Yeah, I mean, maybe like 2 or 3 hours this whole month. I know it's not much, but it's...
So David signed up for the co-working space, and he literally came in like 3 times, and every time he came in, he was just like editing fun videos from like the fishing trip, the scuba diving videos. He didn't work at all. And the fact that you can have your business set up where not only did it pay for your entire vacation,
right,
which most people would be happy with, like just there. If I told, if most people listen to this, if I said to you, hey, why don't you come to Thailand and just do whatever you want, stay wherever you want, eat whatever you want, do whatever activities you want, and they're all free because you're gonna make enough money to cover it,
right,
people would be so ecstatic.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
But the fact that you can also bank $24,000 on top of that while doing this, it's almost kind of like, it's insane.
It's the word I would describe is it's the most liberating feeling you can possibly have. Not being shackled, not having to worry about money, not having the money monkey on your back, and not having to worry about not having time. I mean, it's definitely a liberating feeling, and I feel like the luckiest guy in the world sometimes. I really do. I'm very, very blessed and very, very happy. For sure.
But you definitely worked for it.
Yeah, and then I always put myself back that yes, I worked for it, I earned it, but at the same time, the reason why I only do 1 month, max 2 month splurges like this is because I don't want to be comfortable like this all the time. I love being an entrepreneur. I love the hustle. I love the grind. I will never fully retire. Oh wow, that's a good one. Sorry, Lily just caught another fish.
Should we cook that one? Yeah.
That's a big one. Nice. So Lily just caught a big fish, so it kind of can distract us a little bit. But yeah, I love the hustle. I love the grind. I love the entrepreneurship aspect of it. And I see myself working for the rest of my life. Like I never see myself retiring and then just going fishing every single day until I die. No. But yeah, I do see myself working forever.
Well, our very last episode, I think it was 109, it was called Retirement Isn't Real. And it was with a digital man I met, Dan Bell, who is 55.
Wow.
And it was cool because, most of the people we meet are much younger. They're our age
right,
or younger. And he was saying that, like, it's just not really possible. Because, like, what do you do? Like, you just do nothing all day?
You just get bored, bro. Like, go golfing and fishing all
day?
Fish,
buddy. Go grab it. Oh, that one's yours. I see the fish on it, too. That's definitely David's fish. And David has... Oh, he's reeling it in. He's reeling it. It's fighting. Oh, it's jumping. Oh, I wish you guys can see this. This is so cool. So David is reeling in his very first fish of this podcast. Wow. This is so cool. I'm going to take a photo of it right now. I'm going to post it on the show notes so you guys can see it. So this is what we were doing. All right, David, smile. Hold on. Hold it up. Hey, Lily. Actually, no, I'll just take a selfie. So, I'm going to take a selfie of me on the podcast with David holding a fish in the background.
You got it?
Hold on. Oh, my finger's in the way. Lily, you're going to have to take this for me.
Lily, can you take a picture for us?
So, everyone that's watching this at home, you guys can see this photo of me on the mic with David in the background while we are fishing, hanging out, and talking about what freedom is. And I want everyone to start thinking right now about what your idea of freedom is. Because your idea of freedom might be a little bit different from ours. Your idea of freedom might be that you want to just hibernate. Thank you, Lily. For 2 months at a time, and you're like, you know what? I want to be able to do nothing. I really do want to fish for 2 months at a time. I don't want to work at all. I don't even want to bring my laptop.
Right.
Congrats on the fish, David.
Thank you. It was fun. we're having so much fun here, you guys. You got to come to Thailand and come fishing. And if you do, and I'm here, come fishing with me. Come fishing with Johnny. It's a blast.
So you meet up some of your students pretty often, right?
Yeah, I started doing that more because I love the online aspect of the course and stuff, and seeing all these people sign up and having success. But at the same time, I don't like it, because it's just dialogue and text, and I like the human interaction. I mean, as you're I'm more of an extrovert, so I draw a lot of energy from other people. So I like to take more of the online stuff offline. So I love meeting people in person. I love meeting them face to face. I love hearing their story. It just motivates me. It's what drives me. So absolutely, like everywhere I travel, I try to put up something on my course, and if the students are around, I definitely love to meet them. 100%.
I like it. Yeah, and I really enjoy meeting people as well, especially people who have like interacted for a while. So if I've never heard of you and you've never messaged me or commented on anything before, and you just kind of randomly message me saying, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And if I'm busy that day, I probably won't do it.
Right.
But if you have like even commented or like you've shared your struggles with me, if you have like a progress thread in one of the forums or you ask questions, and I know who you are, I'm always happy to grab lunch. And I would say, but in general, just come anyways, because even if like, you're always going to meet other digital nomads. And what I've been trying to do, and I for a while, to be honest, I was like so busy with my own projects that I didn't want to get interrupted while I'm working. So I was like a little bit short. But what I do now is I arrange at least once a week some kind of digital nomad meetup, whether it's a dinner or a coffee meetup or something. And then I just tell people, I'm like, if I meet them in person for 5 minutes, I'll say, hey, if you want to hang out longer, let's meet up on this day, this time.
Yeah, totally. I definitely love meeting new people.
I like it. So this is almost it, man. Like when you're heading back, when
today's actually my last day here in Koh Lanta. And we're heading back to Krabi tomorrow, taking the flight from Krabi to Bangkok, spending 1 day in Bangkok, and then flying home. So we got 2 days left, and it's it's one of those like bittersweet feelings. Like it feels so good to be here, but at the same time a little sad to leave. Because I feel like it's almost my second home because we've been here for so long. Like gotten to know so many people, made so many friends. And we've gotten really very, very, very comfortable here, and it's just so much fun. So definitely coming back for sure.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten to know David really well over this last month, because most people, when they come visit for like a few days, and it's kind of a rush. But literally, we've been hanging out every day for the last like 3 weeks.
Yep. Doing fun activities, or at least getting dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's insane because if you think about it, like, this is really okay. So this trip is the second time I met you.
Oh yeah, the first time you met me.
The first time I met David was in California. It was over Christmas when I went to visit my parents. And so here's the backstory for anyone who doesn't know. I think it was something like July or something last year, about a year ago. I messaged David saying, "Hey, why don't you come on the podcast?" Had him on the podcast. Was kind of cold to him in the beginning. But then kind of opened up and was like, oh, okay, he sounds legit, all right?
It's funny because like I didn't know, I didn't listen to your podcast, so I didn't think of you as cold at all. I just thought like you were this is how you normally do it. Like I just thought this was just a normal podcast.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea you were being cold to me.
Most of the podcasts are more like this because I do 99% of my podcasts in person.
Gotcha.
And they're usually with people I've hung out with before, so I kind of it's really laid back. I know who they are, but with you, I was like, I'm just gonna ask him all the questions.
I had no idea.
And so we did that, and I was like, oh, he's legit. I could tell. So I actually signed up for David's course. I didn't even ask him to hook me up for free. I just signed up. I just paid money for it. Yeah, and I went through it, and I was like, this makes sense. I could see this. I could see this working. Number one, and also I was really interested in seeing your videos where you show your stores. Because I was like, man, that really shows a lot, especially with because people do copy you, right?
Yeah, they do all the time. Even the students, and I tell them not to, but you can't stop it.
I think the only reason why it's not as big of a deal with what you're doing is because how many products do you have up?
25,000.
Okay, and then how many different niches?
I can't even tell you, bro. Like at least a dozen.
Okay. So, but like 1,000 niches probably, right?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay.
A lot of niches.
So it almost doesn't matter that much because it's almost like a shotgun approach. It's not like you have one niche shotgun, and one type of product. But the people that copy you, I bet you they don't do as well as the people.
No, they definitely don't. 100% they don't.
Yeah. What do you think why do you think they do it? What do you think the mentality is?
They think that obviously because they're just. I mean, it's. I think they have good intentions first of all because they go, oh wow, David's having success. So if I just literally copy whatever he is posting or his listing, I'll have success too. In theory, But at the same time, they're not really learning because they're not really putting their own creativity and their own, spin to it. You know what I mean? So that's why they don't succeed, is because there's no creativity.
I can see that. I also see then they don't understand why they're doing it.
Yep, exactly.
So they might miss a step that's vital.
100%.
That they just skipped because it's like, oh, I don't need to know that because I can just copy it.
Yep.
And I also think I don't think they have good intentions, to be honest. I think those people have the scarcity mentality where they really think that only David is successful, no one else is successful, that nobody else can do it, and that if they don't steal a piece of your pie, there are no other pies. So I feel like people with that straight up just copy the products, that's the mentality where they almost kind of are hoping it's going to fail so they can say to themselves and to other people and say, oh, I copied exactly what David did, it didn't work.
That's a valid point, yeah.
Versus I think the very smart people, and what you said earlier is very true, when people, they model what you're doing and they say, you know what, let me follow David as an example. Let me even kind of look at his stuff as an example, how he does it, and let me do my own version of it, very, very close of it, but let me have my own market, pick my own products, pick my own niches. And that way I have unlimited potential.
I got a cool story for you. So my video editor that I hired, actually, he made the promo video for my course, which is really cool. And now he works for me full time with the vlogs and everything else that we're doing. But he also became a student of the course, and on his extra time, he actually started listing some products. And same thing, just what you said. I love him. He's a perfect example of what you just said. He literally saw everything and learned everything I did and put his own spin to it. And he's a really clever guy because he started paying attention to movies, new movies that just came out. That new movie Deadpool. So he goes, I'm gonna start selling some Deadpool accessories and Deadpool stuff. And man, he's been generating sales every single day, and he made his first $500, and he's just so stoked. And I thought to myself, that is so clever. See, I don't jump into that niche. I don't do that. But it's great that you learn how to optimize, you learn how to do this, you learn how to do that, and you're doing it your way. It's awesome. Those are my favorite students, 100%. And that's why he's having success. 100%.
I like that.
Yeah.
And congrats to him.
Yep.
Here's what you guys can take away from that, all right? Is instead of you guys saying, oh, well, let me just start selling Deadpool stuff, what's going to happen is you first off, you're probably going to be a few weeks or a few months kind of behind the trend. Someone else is going to have those keywords, kind of ahead of you in line. People are going to have the products listed already. They're going to have more of it. They're going to have the reputation, the reviews, all that stuff, right? But what you can do is you can say, you know what? If new hit movies work, why don't I keep an eye out for new hit movies and let me jump on whatever the latest thing is? Or why just movies?
Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
Why not? What about new albums?
Yep.
What about new comics? What about new video games?
Yep.
What about, and there's so many possibilities.
Yep.
And I think now that I have a very abundant mentality, it's so clear to me now.
Yeah.
But I honestly didn't always have that.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started my dropshipping store, I was so focused on what niches other people were successful in, and every time I would beg them to tell me, and beg them, and when they did tell me, I was so disappointed because I'm like, oh man, there are no other niches out there. That was it. I wish I would have thought of that. I didn't.
Mentality, yeah.
I didn't think of it first. I'm too late. I should have. I should have done this years ago. That's it. I'm gonna give up. I had that mentality, and I was so grateful that I had friends in my life that would just push me and just said,
"Other way,
just freaking do it," And I had my back against the wall where I was so broke, and I was so afraid of going home and having to get a job,
right? That
I was like, I just have to do this, And I don't want anyone listening to this to be in that situation because it sucks.
It does,
So hopefully you can just learn from that and say, well, before you get in that situation, why don't you just do it now?
Yeah, I agree. For me, it was different because growing up, I've never really had that scarcity mentality. I've always had the abundance mentality, even when I was broke and my back was against the wall. Because I always looked around and see other successful people, and what motivated me so much was, the stories of when they were broke too, and they weren't born with the riches either, So I know that if it was possible for them, it was definitely possible for me, So I always knew that there's enough money to go around for everybody. There's enough time lifestyle freedom to go around for everybody. You just got to get your piece of the pie and put in the work to get it. That's it. You know. But,
I almost think of it as like there's not just one pie that you gotta get a piece of.
Yeah.
I almost feel like there's infinite pies.
Yes. Yeah.
And everyone can have their own pie.
Yeah.
And it could be, you know, raspberry or huckleberry. And, you know, you can have your own different pie.
Getting me hungry, man. Let's go get some pies.
Well, that's why we're gonna have such a good dinner tonight. But
cool, man.
yeah, I mean, like, okay, so the main thing that I've taken away from you, David. So here are my lessons that I've learned from you, David, and I want to thank you for this. All right. Number one is that pretty much everything works. Before I met you, I honestly was so skeptical with most online businesses, and honestly, I was the type of person where I was like, you know what? The only thing that's ever worked for me was dropshipping. Right? The normal, like, Anton's method of dropshipping. That was the only thing that ever worked for me because that was the only thing I really committed to. To be fair, that was the only course I ever taken. And in my mind, I was like, everything else does not work. And I would read, and I would read stuff on Reddit or on forums and Warrior Forum, on these bullshit places where it's filled with people who haven't tried or haven't really dedicated, and they're just complaining about stuff about their lives. So I would read all these things, and people would say eBay, selling on eBay doesn't work anymore.
Right.
You know, Amazon arbitrage doesn't work, or you can't do this, you can't do that. And I used to honestly believe them. I used to be like, you know what? All those things don't work, you know? I would hear all the negatives, even like selling on Amazon, FBA, or whatever it is. I would honestly think like, you know, all that stuff doesn't work, you know? And I thought I was just so lucky that I found the one thing that does work. But after meeting you and after meeting your students, you know, and after recommending your course to other people who have also done it and been successful, I realized it's like, you know what? This also works. You know, and this was one of those things that I thought would work the least, to be honest, you know? The concept of listing stuff from like Home Depot and like Walmart and other stores on eBay for, you know, more money than you could just buy it from Home Depot, to me sounded retarded. I was like that sounds that sounds stupid. Why would anyone do that?
Right.
And if it wasn't, you know, having you on the show and having you answer all those hard questions. So if anyone isn't really aware of what we're talking about, go listen to that episode. It's 82. You know, or if they haven't been through your course, you know, they would also probably think like, oh yeah, like that stuff doesn't work. And I bet you if you ask random people who haven't done it, they're gonna say, oh yeah, that doesn't work. But if they ask people who have done it, if they join your course and start, you know, reading the discussion forums, or start just, you know, reaching out to people who are in the course already, or go to these meetups, and they meet 10, 20 people who are, you know, making $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month, and they're all like, yeah, it's pretty easy. That really opened my mind, because now I'm starting to think, you know what? Maybe everything does work.
That's the mentality I have, you know, and you got to think about this too. I mean, everything in life is like that, right? You talk to a person that's not fit who went to the gym and tried the gym and ask him, hey, did the gym work for you? He's going to say no, right? But it's not that gyms don't work. It's that people don't work, right? You take a look at real estate. It doesn't matter what the economy is. People are always making money in real estate, whether it's a down economy, up economy, a sideways economy. It's not that real estate doesn't work. It's just that people don't work, you know? You take a look at diets, you know? I mean, it's not that diets don't work. It's, again, people don't work.
And by work, you mean put in the work.
Yeah, putting in the work, figuring it out, and giving it time, and just really just hustling and making it work for you, you know? So that's all it is, man. I've come to realize that people are the biggest factor to making everything work, you know? And everyone is different. Everyone comes in with a different skill set and ambition and drive. Yes, I get that. But yes, everything does work. It's just if you're willing to make it work, that's it. You know, you just have to make it work.
And I will say that there are some things that will click with you more, that will be like slightly easier for you, or something that you already kind of understand because maybe you have a background in it. Maybe you kind of you know, maybe you've bought houses before, so you kind of understand real estate. Maybe you've like grew up kind of, you know, better with computers, so some kind of online business would be better for you. But I want everyone to realize this. Everything out there, pretty much everything, I can't say everything in the world, right? But pretty much everything out there does work. It just depends how much effort you are willing to put into it, how much money you're willing to put into it. And there's a lot of things that I'm not willing to do, you know? Like there are some businesses I'm not willing to put the money in or the time in to do, but now I know it works.
Yeah. So someone else, especially if someone else has done it and made it work.
Especially if someone else has done it.
You cannot make any excuses that it doesn't work. 100%, you know? Yeah.
Like for example, flipping houses. All right. that is not something I want to do.
I wouldn't do that either.
I don't want to put the money into it. I don't want to put the legwork into it or the time. I don't want the risk involved in it. You know, I don't want any of that stuff, right? But
people making millions.
People are making millions. Yep. So I know it works.
Yep.
That's just not something I want to do, you know? So people listening to this, I really want you guys to have this mindset shift, right? Next time someone, you know, you hear of an opportunity, especially a business opportunity, something that can make you money.
Before discounting it. Yeah.
All right. Don't say, oh, that doesn't work. Say to yourself, okay, this probably works. This obviously has worked for other people. There's obviously people making money from this. Is this something that I want to do? And that's all you. That's the only shift that you guys need to make. And once you decide, you know, that is something I want to do, put in the work.
Who's that said, you know, you ask better questions, you get better answers, right? So instead of saying what if it, you know, doesn't work, say what if it works, and how can I make it work? You know, those are better questions to ask. 100%.
Yeah, so, I like that a lot. Yep. So, and the second thing I learned from you is, I love how hands-off you are with your businesses, how trusting you are with employees, you know, how you have so many multiple streams of income that you're able to just, you know, come here for 3 days and just chill out. So that is something that I'm going to be focusing more on kind of throughout the year.
You got to, yeah. 100%, because that way, it'll, you know, what I learned from the 4-hour work week is not just the 4-hour work week, quote unquote, right? But it's the ability to free up your time, because once you have more time, you create more time for creativity, right? And it actually, when you can figure out how to create more time for yourself and automate a lot of different things, you actually end up making more money, because now you can start a second, third, fourth, fifth business and automate that, and your income is exponential at that point. You know, you absolutely cannot. I mean, for everyone starting out, if you're bootstrapping, I mean, I was there too, right? First year, 2 years, grinding it out, hustling like crazy. I mean, never even thought about hiring anyone. You know, I was the only one because no one can do it better than me. I was a super control freak, right? But if you truly wanted to have the freedom and make more money and make more, because eventually you'll just burn yourself out, or you just plateau or cap out to how much you can make anyways. So the only way to get to that next level, it's absolutely critical. You have to outsource. You have to hire talent. You have to hire the right people. You have to give yourself and free up your time so that way you can be more creative to focus on working on your business rather than working in your business. You know, that's the biggest thing I want to give to your audience.
I like that. Yeah. And inspired by that, I've been putting this off for months and months, but I'm finally ready to hire someone. Like, and I don't want them just to be an intern. I want them to be more of like a partner, you know? Yep. So I'm going to write this. I'm going to actually write it out. I'm going to give all the details. So if you guys are on the mailing list at johnnyft.com, I'll send out the official, you know, announcement. But in my mind, I think this is what I want to do. I'm willing to either pay someone and pay for all their expenses, you know, being out here in Thailand, to help me grow this new project that I have in my mind. And then after, I think what I'll do is I'll pay for them for 2 or 3 months. And at the end of the 3 months, they can either stay on getting paid, you know, just their expenses, or they can partner and say, dude, Johnny, like I want to, you know, I want to be part of this. I really want to, you know, and I don't know why I put this off for so long. I'm sure there's tons of people listening right now who are like, yeah, I want to do that.
Bro, that is so cool. And I wish you guys could see this. I got goosebumps when Johnny said that. I'm like, man, hey, bro, can I work for you? You know, that's so cool, man. And the best feeling for me is knowing that I'm in that position where I can hire someone and give someone else an opportunity to generate income for them. And it's honestly, what's that feeling I'm looking for, the word I'm looking for? It's not liberating, but man, it gives me like an obligation feeling almost, you know, where like, man, they're relying me on a paycheck. So I got to make this business succeed, not just for me, but for them too. It's a totally different feeling, man. And it's really cool. You know, then you're stepping into, I think, like a bigger role of leadership and all that stuff. So kudos. I'm excited for you,
Thank
bro.
you.
Man, anyone listening, make sure, I'm not trying to hype this up. That is such a freaking badass opportunity, bro. That sounds so cool. I'm really excited to see who jumps on that.
Oh yeah, man. I think I'm going to get a ton of applicants because you know, there's a lot of people that want to live this lifestyle, and they know that there's the great courses out there. They can do stuff on their own.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's a big difference having kind of that mentorship or that guidance, you know? Because I mean, obviously I'm going to be just as committed because this is a business that I'm willing to put my money and time in to make it work. So
right.
Excited for that.
That's super cool, man. Yeah, totally. I'm excited for you, man. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Awesome.
So big things coming. David, have a safe trip back. I'm sure I'm going to see you again.
Thanks, Shawnee. I appreciate you, man. And the last month hanging out with you and having fun, bro. Honestly, you're like my best friend in Thailand, bro.
I like that.
We've definitely had a lot of fun, but this isn't goodbye, you know? We'll definitely see each other again and hang out again.
We'll definitely hang out again. So if anyone is interested in David's course, you can go to, just go to the show notes, travellikeabosspodcast.com. Go to the show notes, episode 110, and I'll have links to all his courses there, including his eBay course. And I would love to see everyone succeed. I really do. So shout out to everyone listening, and thank you, Lillian, for catching all the fish for us, catching lunch for us. It's been fun hanging out these last 30 days. And David, I'll see you somewhere in the world.
Yes, sir. Take care, everybody.
Peace out. Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.